Hey everybody, big welcome back for what is another exciting vacation drone vlog shot on my DJI Mavic Pro. Um, Today's flight is in Santo Tomas de Castilla in Guatemala. Hopefully I didn't butcher the name too much. Um, it was an amazing trip, and while I was flying it later on, not on this flight, but I've included it in this flight's footage. I actually let some police fly the drone, so you'll get to see that later on in the video. But in the meantime, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the adventure, what we saw there, and the experience. So let me start by saying that I went on a cruise with TUI Cruise Lines, which was an amazing trip. I'm going to be doing a full review of them and the ship and all that. But so anyways, this was one of the places we stopped. And as I do every tropical destination that is probably not safe to do, I go for a walk through the city because that's a little more fun than doing the organized, stuff. Some people enjoy the zip lining and stuff like that, and that stuff's all good and stuff. But I much prefer to get out and see the city, see the sights, see the people, and all that, and go to some local restaurants and whatnot. But so walking around, I didn't have too much concern for safety out in the main streets. All of the places we visited have, they caution you about being safe and stuff online. Before I went there, I didn't have any concerns really, but we did end up down some back alleys with some with a group of guys watching us one time, and I was actually walking around with my Mavic in my backpack, so it's not one of those times you want to get robbed or something like that. But I didn't really have any uneasy feelings, so I would totally do it again in this location. It was really cool going there, and it's kind of one of those places that I almost wish I, could go and start a new life there. It's just so beautiful. The people seemed friendly enough. I'm not going to say that it's necessarily a rich place, but at the same time, it looks like they're doing okay. They're surviving nicely. Um, the houses seem to have running water and power and all that, so it looked good enough for me. I wouldn't mind a nice house on a hill in a tropical place like this. I've got some a different flight from out this way where we actually go up a mountain. So that's another video that's coming, just so you know. And there's my ship in the distance. I think we're gonna fly by and do a little sneak peek. While I'm flying over there, I'll tell you. I didn't want to be stupid with my drone. Like I said, I didn't feel too concerned for my safety, but at the same time, you still got to use some smarts with what you're doing. So I went to kind of like behind a school where enough people at houses could kind of see me. There was like people at houses and stuff. And then there was some teenager there with his girlfriend or whatever behind the school. They came to check out the drone, but kind of figured it'd be best to stay in a spot that would be, pretty visible. Uh, you guys can tell me in the comments below if you want. Have you ever experienced anything like this? Would you do the same thing, or do you just not fly a place like this? On a total side note, I'm actually flying over an army base right now. I was a little bit weary about doing that. Later on, I confirmed with the police that it was okay. Um, well, okay for them, but I don't know if it's okay with the army. But actually, this is maybe I'm over a park. The army base is a little bit more to the left, the Air Force. But anyhow, what a great place. I got to tell you, that was my first cruise I went on, and getting to see all these new places was just an amazing experience, and I can't wait to do it again. And I'm sure at some point this year I will. But I'll make sure once again though there's places that will allow the drone because I like making these videos and sharing them with you guys. What else to talk about here? There were a lot of dogs and really not there was a lot of dogs running around the streets, and I'm going to show you one of the cutest ones right now. There we go. How cute is this little guy? Kind of like in an ugly, cute way, but anyway. So all these dogs, but none of them were actually friendly. And what else would I tell you? I was walking down the street and kind of just looking at the houses at one point, and there was a lady standing right in her doorway with her woohoo, her boobies out, feeding a kid, which I know is kind of like supposed to be socially acceptable and stuff now, but I still kind of get weirded out by it. But it's one of those things where you're looking, and so then she totally thinks I was checking out her cans, which is not the case, but they were big anyway, for just for the record. Um, Back to the location here, I will bring up that it was kind of difficult to communicate with some of the locals. So, I found a shop that basically had what I'm assuming was all knockoff goods, but like Nike and Adidas and Gucci and all this, and hats and stuff, but it was in their money, which I didn't know how to convert. But even if I did, I didn't have their kind of money with me. I had American money, and they didn't speak any English at all, and they didn't know how much. Like when I was trying to buy a couple of hats, I was trying to say like how much in American dollars, and we couldn't figure it out, so I couldn't buy them. Now, when I wanted a pop, I gave the lady $2 American and just kind of said, drink, drink, or whatever, and she gave us two pops, and she was more than happy. So I don't know what that translated into their money, but gave her $2 American and got something to drink. So that was good. The roads, all these back roads are pretty much just dirt roads, and it was a bit muddy. Obviously, it had rained there, so it was a little tricky, kind of jumping over stuff throughout the morning, walking around. But still, what a beautiful place, and it was like I don't know, like 25 degrees Celsius or something out there, so nice and warm. And during this time, Canada was like -30 or something where I come from, so it was really nice being out there while the suckers up in Canada were shivering cold. And there's us at the school. I think you can see, yeah, there's my son, me, and I think the teenager was there maybe with his girlfriend or whatever at that point. I kind of wonder like what all these people do for work. Like obviously there's markets and stores, but not everyone can work at the market and stores. But I didn't really see much other industry. Like I don't really see a whole lot of factories or so just one of those things that kind of, for social things or whatever, I just kind of wonder what they do for a living. It's so beautiful though, watching back the video. It's a little bit hazy, unfortunately, just because of the humidity and the rain and stuff, but that's okay. They seem to all just use metal roofs there, which are all rusty, but I guess what works works. Well, that or the green. I'm not sure if the green is metal or if it's just that like that fiber corrugated stuff. Not really sure. I didn't pay much attention, but it's so interesting going places like this. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you guys. I'm not sure if I asked you in the last video, but I'd really love some feedback on it. Do you guys actually like when I sit and make the whole video like this, just the unedited flight? Or would you rather I cut this down to something a little more refined and just throw some music? Or would you prefer shorter but still a vlog? I'd really appreciate any feedback because obviously it helps me grow my channel the more I can do what you guys want with the footage. So I personally don't mind it like this, other than coming up with things to talk about, which, if I'm boring you, you could just mute me and put on some music or something like that. But I personally kind of like it like this because then you're actually getting to see the true view of what it is I'm seeing. That's a cemetery right there. I'm pointing at my screen as if you guys can see it on the left there. Um, I believe that was the cemetery, but it's a little bit run down and stuff, but it was still cool to see. And I actually did a lot of walking around in these streets. There's the Jello. Sorry guys, my drone's got some little hiccups to it every now and then when I'm flying fast. Um, yeah, we did a lot of walking down these streets. Maybe we'll go fly over the booby girl's house. Um, I'm not really sure now because I was up there towards the left more. Um, I've got an awesome flight from flying over the ship. It's not included in this video because that's for something else. But it was really disappointing that for whatever reason, that particular video, it was DJI Clip 04 or whatever, screwed up and did not turn out, which is weird because that flight didn't turn out but like the one a flight after it did. So kind of, but I was able to get it from my phone because it, it saves the video on the phone. It's a little bit lower quality though, unfortunately, but it's it is what it is. So if you watch for in an upcoming video, you'll get to, well, depending when you see that, it might already be out, but you'll get to see the top-down view of like the people all on the ship, which is one of those weird things. I didn't understand how so many people stayed on the ship. Like, I guess just not everyone's into touring around, but to me, if you get on a cruise ship to go see, 4 different locations, you'd probably want to go and actually see the 4 different locations. But a lot of people just sat on the ship. They had no interest in actually getting off the boat. So I uh, I like to get out and see the sights, get some lunch, have a beer, whatever. This out in this place here, we found a restaurant that was like KFC. I don't know what they called it, and I'm assuming it was chicken. I hope it was chicken, but it was along those lines, and it was a little bit pricey though. Really, it was because I think it was like $15 or $20 US or whatever for like two-piece chicken meals. So which converted into Canadian dollars. 'Cause I remember when I was getting it, I was like, oh shit, wow. And that's like, like 20, $25 for but 2 meals. But now keep in mind, they were probably just pulling one over on me because there was no sign doing the conversion, and I had no idea how to do the conversion. I just know that it was like, yeah, it was somewhere like around $20 or something US. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of expensive for that, but oh well, whatever. It wasn't too bad of food anyway. They had for that you got a couple pieces of chicken, coleslaw, pop, and fries. Which their French fries though they or the ketchup, sorry, they called it salsa, not ketchup. It said on the package salsa, and I was like, oh, they put salsa on their fries here. But when I opened it, it was actually ketchup. So all right, so now we're gonna come in for a little landing here. So this building, I don't know, it's kind of one of those buildings that's just not finished or something. It looked pretty empty in there. I had saw that clip before when I was previewing, and not really sure what this was because I thought it was a school. But anyway, so we're gonna land here, and now we're gonna jump to the beach. Let's go check it out. So here is actually where the police are flying my drone. I'm not sure. I think I still have it in my hand. There's me and them. Oh, maybe no. I think he's actually got it. Those are 2 police officers, which they were nice guys, but I'm going to tell you about this little weird story so you guys can watch. He's not all that great of a pilot, never did it before, and he was nervous and gave it back. But anyway, so after I let them fly the drone, he was they tried to get me to take a taxi ride with that guy in white, but something seemed a little off with it, and so I was like, no, it's okay, I like to walk. And they're like, oh, are you sure? You should take a taxi. It's really far. And I was like, well, it's only like a 10-15 minute walk from here to get around to the ship. And I said, oh, I like walking anywhere, everywhere I go. I only like to walk, not really taxi. But anyways, they followed me on their bikes all the way to the port. And I even snapped a picture. I don't know where the picture is of them because when they weren't looking. So I was kind of like getting a bit of a sketchy feeling. I don't know if you guys know what I mean, but they followed me and they're talking back and forth in their language. And then every now and then they would ask me like, questions. But so ultimately, I ended up pulling an American 10 out of my pocket. And once we were getting close to the port, and I gave it to the one and I said, here, guys, have a couple of beers on me. Thanks for getting me back safe. And yeah, and then they went on their way. So I didn't know if they were, maybe waiting for a tip or it was just it was an awkward situation. So I don't know if any of you guys have ever experienced anything like that. And I'm not trying to say anything ill of them. They seemed like really nice guys, but it was just weird. But I also sat in a restaurant over to the left and had a beer. Actually, that was right before I came and met these guys. So this flight was after the first flight, but this is the third flight. The middle one, the one DJI 04 or whatever, was the flight right before this, the one that didn't turn out. But Oh man, I love the tropics, I tell you. That's all I can say about that. It's just so beautiful. Although, once again, like a lot of places that we visited, garbage in the rivers and streets. I don't know why they keep dumping their garbage in the river. Like there's this little river, you can see it right there, but it actually runs along the roadway after, and just completely full of garbage. So that's a real shame. Other than that, the place is absolutely beautiful, and I got to see some of those leaf cutter ants, which I've never seen in real life. So um, that was kind of cool to see those. And there's some happy people on the beach. And there seemed to be like a little amusement park thing behind me. I'm not sure if it was for the locals or for tourists or what, but I didn't really see any big hotels and stuff. So I kind of thought maybe it was for the local kids. But anyway, that's pretty much going to wrap up all my rambling, guys. I do appreciate everyone that watches and then likes and subscribes. Feel free to leave feedback. Let me know what you think so I can adjust what's needed to be adjusted in my videos to, to make them more enjoyable for you guys. And here you're going to get a chance to see the cop after I pick this up. And that'll wrap up the video, guys. Thanks as always for watching, and we will see you guys next time.